right, everybody. Thank you for joining us for GEG Asia Pacific APAC Weekend 8.0. Yeah, it's the 8th time that we've done this among all the other stuff that we do. We're really lucky tonight. We've got Wendy Peskett here from Kami and is going to talk to you all about Kami app and help you understand why it's better than, just like the title says, a PDF annotation tool and how it can support students and their learning. And I'm looking forward to it because I'm going to take a deeper dive with you as I mute my video. But first, Wendy will tell you about her session, but I want to introduce her for you. So she's a Kami Business Development Representative, and she's got a long career. We're just talking about her family before we started here, and she has a long career in staff development in the education field. She's a chartered teacher, Google certified trainer, innovator coach, Microsoft educator. She's an ISTE certified educator, which I really want to do down the road someday. And she's within the Education and Training Foundation as well. And she's part of the GEG UK team. She's delivered PD for thousands of teachers, around the UK, around Europe, and the world, supporting staff and primary, secondary development. FE colleges I'm not super familiar with. Maybe you can tell us about that a little bit later. And, I'm sure like people watching either in real time or after the broadcast, very much like the rest of you and me, we love teaching, learning, we love kids. And Wendy explicitly writes, why don't I quote, understands the value of lifelong learning and, more importantly, the importance of high quality training in a supportive learning environment. And even after this session, Wendy's going to tell you how you can reach out to Kami and actually get training for you and your team. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to kind of bow out and hand it over to Wendy. Thanks so much for being here. Looking forward to it.
Thank you so much, Nate. And I'm really excited to be here and to talk to everybody that's joining us. I'm really sorry if my voice goes a little bit. It's cold season here in the UK, so we're all a little bit croaky at the moment. So I've started off by just sharing this first page with you here. And I'm going to get you into this document with me at the moment. So we're going to give you a link to join, and you can jump into this document with me. And this just gives you the details of myself and Ren, who are the UK team, but we also look after Asia South Pacific as well. So that will give you access to the people you need in Kami to be able to reach out to us and get some more training later. And what I'm going to do in this session is, yes, we're going to look at Kami as a PDF annotation tool. We're going to look at how we can use it, but I'm going to highlight the features really that makes this so useful supporting students. And I had a really great quote from a teacher that I spoke to in a school, actually in a further education college, and I'll talk to you about that in a second. And she said she loves Kami because she knows that the developers there understand that students that are neurodiverse grow up to be neurodiverse adults, and Kami understands that those tools are also useful in place for the adults, the teachers that come into education, so not just for the students as well. So let's keep that in mind as well. So answering that question, FE is further education in the UK, and that's usually from 14 or 16 plus and goes up to any age, and it can be academic qualifications or vocational qualifications within a college setting, just in case you hadn't heard that before. So hopefully you've had that link shared and you can jump into this document with me. Nate's going to do that for me. Please jump into the document if you'd like to join in. You can do this just by watching, and I won't be offended. I know some people prefer to watch like that, but if you jump in, you'll be able to see the difference between what the teacher sees and the student sees.
And so we've got the extension there. The link is posted as well as the doc. So feel free to join in and work on real time there, folks.
Yeah, feel free to join in. So to see all of the extra features that I'm going to give you, as well as jumping into this doc, we would like you to install the extension. So if Nate's popped that extension link out, that takes about 30 seconds to do. Get in, get the extension, because there is a free element to Kami as well as a paid version as well. So even if you end up just using the free stuff, it's still really useful for you to have access to. And then I'll go away happy knowing that you've actually got what you need to take this forward. Okay, so that's absolutely brilliant. I'll give you another couple of seconds to do that, and then we'll move on. If anyone wants to join me, please jump in. Don't feel frightened. It's a safe space. We're just going to have a little play together. And I'll talk you through what's different if you are not looking at it as a student here with me. So making sure you've jumped into the document and got the extension. So the first thing I really want to say to you about using anything with Kami is that you can open any type of document. You're not limited just to opening PDFs. So if you go to your Google Drive, or if you're working anywhere else, you can go to any other drive, you can pick up files and open them. So if I take you into my Google Drive here, I've got a few different file types. Yes, there's a lot of PDFs in there, but I've got a Google slide, a PowerPoint. I've also got a Jamboard example in here. And if I open something that is an example, you can see that I can open it straight away, and I can click on the Kami link, or the Open with Kami. So that's one way of opening it. Or I can just right click and I can open and annotate with Kami directly from here. So whatever the file type is, what it's going to do, it's going to say you need to convert it, because it's going to make a PDF of that document. And that's where you can see that it's a PDF annotator. So what's happening in that background is the PDF is here, it comes in, and then your annotation sits on the top on a layer. So if I open something like this, this is actually a Jamboard background that was created in Canva as well. So it's looking and it knows that it's a PDF, a scanned PDF, and it's saying, do you want to run the text recognition? And it's always worth doing that, because then what will happen is it will recognize the text in that Kami doc. And also, because it's come from Canva originally, it's actually a lot bigger than it needs to be. So I can just zoom out and make it the size that I want it to be. Okay, so I can make sure that it fits my screen. So very easy to do. It just comes in a bit bigger when you're using Canva, and we'll talk about that in a moment. So you can see that if you've got any background saved, doesn't matter whether it's a Jamboard, it doesn't matter if it's a doc or a Word document, it really doesn't matter. You just open it up with Kami from wherever that is saved. That's your first little thing that you can do with it. And then for the people that have jumped in with me, and I know it's only a few of you, we're going to just do a very quick activity where you can see some of the features that you can get to support your students. So the first thing I've done is I've gone into my share document here, and before I actually shared this link with you, I went into this feature control area, and this is just an amazing area, because what it allows me as the teacher to do is to select the tools that I want my students to have. So at the moment, I can switch them all off and switch them all on. But what I've done is I've just selected the dictionary, the read aloud, the markup. Hopefully you'll notice that they're all accessibility features. I'll scroll down and look at my support features. I've turned off copy and paste. I've left the spell check on. I've also got voice typing and closed captions still accessible for everybody on there. And as soon as I click OK on that, this can change throughout an activity. So now I've shared this document with you. If you have jumped into this document with you, you'll see a difference. You'll see my teacher screen with all of these rich tools on them. But when you look on your screen, you'll see that your toolbox has really been reduced. And I've only given you those accessibility tools. So the idea here is that you can come in and use the dictionary to find what words mean. Before we start this activity, you can come in and you can select bits that can get read to you.
Let's get to know each other.
So that you can understand the information that you've got there. And you can use the markup tools to really annotate and mark up bits that are important for you to go back to. So really about understanding the task before the teacher even lets you get set on participating in it. So giving that student that time to understand it. And then when I'm happy that you understand what you're doing, I can then give you the tools that you need. So the one tool I have given you right at the beginning is this text box. And you'd expect a text box. The text box is in the free version and it's in the paid version. And I can click anywhere on the screen and I can just type. I can change the color, the size, the background color of my text. If you want to try out the text box, please do that now. But what I've done by reducing the amount of tools available to students is that I've reduced that cognitive overload that can overwhelm students when they're just given this huge toolbox to use. So it gives me a chance to just allow students to do things in a nice, slow-paced way. Okay, thank you. If you want to join in, please do. If not, it's okay. I can just demonstrate. We'll just finish a little bit quicker, but that's also absolutely fine. So once I've done that, what I love about it is that it is a live collaboration. Just like we expect in Google, we've had that really fast, instant collaboration in Google before. And what I can do is go back into that feature control and I can give you more features. So I can put the comments on. And once I click OK, they appear in the toolbox too. So people have those as well. Okay, so once I've done that, I can go into the comment tool, and a comment is something that appears on the right-hand side. Anything that you embed into a document sits in the document itself. So let's think about how these tools might be used to support our students. We've got the text comment, we've got the voice comment, we've got video, and we've got screen capture. A huge amount of tools for you to be able to use with your students, not something you normally find in one piece of software in one place under one button. So if you've got students and teachers that you want to use these features, but they're a little bit reluctant because they're nervous to go and find screen capture tools, you haven't got to worry about that anymore. It's all sitting inside of Kami, easy for you to use. So if I want to use the voice comment, I can. As soon as I click on the screen, because I've used it before, it will start recording. If I haven't used it before, in the left-hand side, it will just tell me to allow my microphone or video. So when I click, it's now recording. I can give you my thoughts. I can be that student now that really is able to express my ideas without having the cumbersome task of now writing. Because some students prefer to be able to do this. They might be just a bit slow typing, or they may not be able to type. So we can support our students in this way. And when I stop recording, it's here. And there is a text transcript as well that we can generate captions. So that's something that helps you to support your students as well. And we've got that in the video. And if you're wondering how long we can record video for or audio in our document, you've got up to 20 minutes recording. You're unlikely to need this, but you can. And it's not just 20 minutes total in a doc, it's 20 minutes per recording. So if you want to ask your students to review something or to critique something or give you their thoughts, their ideas, their passions, they can do that all through video or audio. So you're opening up that student choice. I'll come back to the video in a second, but I'm going to scroll down a couple of pages because I didn't know how many people would join us. So I've left a few pages there for people to scribble on. And as that link will go out with the recording, people might come in and use those bits. So that's fine. But this graffiti wall is there for if anyone wants to just join me and have a quick play. There's a whole load of tools here. I'm going to open up and show you some of the other features. No, in fact, I'm going to go back to this one and carry on here for a minute because I'm demonstrating, aren't I? Let's go back into these feature controls. I'm just going to switch everything on as there's only a couple of people join me. I'll switch it all on, but you can see as a teacher, I can just bring those in and really slowly and scaffold and build up that lesson at a great pace. So we talked about the stuff on the right-hand side, but if I want to embed something, I can go straight to add media. And I can pick up stuff from my computer, my camera, Google Drive, Google image search. But I'm going to grab the camera today and I'm just going to take a quick photo. There we go. There's me looking cheery in the morning. I can click on my page and I can just resize that and pop it onto a document. So if I'm getting students and I want them to show me a piece of work, they could hold that up in front of the screen. So anything you're doing offline can be easily put into a document too. So if you'd like to have a go, you don't have to put a picture of yourself. I understand people don't always like to do that. But if you want to do that, please join in and jump in and try that. But I'm going to move swiftly on and go on to some of the other features where you can support your students learning very easily. So I'm going to go in while you're doing this, and I'm popping in all the rest of the tools. So it's easy to do. Select them all on. I can even put the copy and paste back on, and I can click OK. So anyone that did join me now, they have access to all the tools that I do as a teacher, with the exception of the question tools. That is only a teacher tool. Okay, so I'm going to move swiftly on. I'm going to scroll down. Feel free to play at any time on any of these tools. Oh, someone's playing with Kami down there. Excellent. So one of the tools I really love is the signature tool, because quite often when you're working with students, you've got cover sheets that you need to sign between students, and students have to sign something and give it to their teacher to sign. Depends what level you're working at. Certainly in FE we have these cover sheets, but it's difficult because people have to print something out, they have to sign it, scan it back. It's just time consuming. But here in Kami, you can draw a signature, you can do any sort of drawing that you want to do, you can insert it into a document, and you can resize it to fit where you need it on your page. And what I love about the signature tool too is you can date stamp it and you can time stamp it. So even in terms of supporting your students with administrative tasks, that can be something that is a real game changer. Lots of things that you can do here. So if you want to come back into that graffiti wall and have a little play, feel free. You don't have to do it now, but I'll just give you a second to see if anyone wants to do that. If not, I'm going to scroll down and we'll have a little look at some of the other features that we can do. Oh, so there's a lovely heart there. Thank you. Now, what I want you to realize as well is another really big way that Kami supports students learning is that when we work collaboratively on any documents, one of the big things that teachers tell me that is really infuriating is when you're working on a collaborative task and students go off and start deleting each other's work. Now, this doesn't seem to matter what age the user is, because when I work with teachers, they still do the same. They know they can delete someone else's thing, so they do. I think it's just built into our human psyche that we have to go and interfere a little bit. But everybody's experienced that as a teacher. So what I would say to you is that Kami stops that. Kami really makes students focus on their own work, because there's no point in going and touching anyone else's stuff, because you can't delete it. You can't move someone else's work. You can't delete it. That's built into Kami. So the only person that can delete or move your work is you or the teacher. So the person that put that on the page can delete it, and so can the teacher, but no one else. Okay. And that's something that is such an important feature of Kami, being able to really focus students' minds by taking away the distractions, of, oh, I might interfere with that, or taking away the distraction of an overwhelming toolbox that's too large for them. So some great features there. And just one I'll mention that I didn't even know existed until the other day, that apparently if people type naughty words on our documents, they are filtered out as well. I haven't actually tried it yet, but I was told that's a feature in Kami. But please don't try that now, just in case. Only joking, you can have a go. But I'm going to move on to the next page. Right, let's show you what a teacher can do now. We all know when we were working remotely through COVID that teachers were starting to try and record their lessons, and some, moved over really successfully, and others struggled, others found it difficult. And when we came back to face-to-face teaching, a lot of teachers sort of turned away from all the tools and the skills they'd learned, because, they were fed up with going and finding them and trying to remember where they'd been to create their screencasts and their audio. But you don't have to do that in Kami, because as we said, everything you need, all the multimedia tools for your comments are under this comment tool. So if I want to screen capture something as a teacher, I can. It's dead easy. I can click. I can select which screen I'm recording. And as soon as I hit the share button, it's recording my screen and me. Now, if you're a bit nervous or shy as a teacher, you can turn your video off and just record your screen. And it doesn't matter if I move out of the Kami document, it's still recording. It's recording what is being shown on my screen. So you're not limited to just recording what's inside of Kami. Now, as a teacher, I can now do my demonstration. I can come in, I can select a tool, I can explain to them what we're looking at number lines and that we're going to do a problem together, and we're going to look at -1 + 3, 1, 2, 3, show them the answer, give them all the learning tips they need, give them all the content you need. It's going to be up to 20 minutes recording. In this case, I only need just under a minute, but I'm going to click on done. And again, with the ability to generate those captions, it supports a lot of my students that need that. But also this supports every student that needs to be able to go and watch something again. How many times as a teacher do you reteach because the student wasn't ready, or they missed a step, or they just need to watch it again? And this way you can do that really, really easy for your students. And it means that this is now in the document ready for you, for your students to be redirected to. So if they don't understand it, you can send them back there to rewatch it. And they can also have that conversation with you too. So don't worry about that. They can ask you the questions they need in real time on this document. And if you need to be able to put that video anywhere else, that's also easy for you to do. So you can expand any video you've created, you can right click and you can save that video as. So you can push that out to YouTube, or put it in your Google Drive, or email it out to someone, or push it onto your Google Classroom, whatever you would like to do with it. But it also sits in that document too. Okay, so just in terms of the annotation tool, all of these tools are really easy to use. The students can pick up this, they can start to annotate, they can draw to things, they can mark things up and talk about the gun in this image, because this is what they would do on a poster like this. They might come in and decide to choose voice comments, and this student's going to talk about the color of the rose because the red signifies ... and you get the idea. So it is an annotation tool. It's a powerful annotation tool. It's not just a drawing tool, okay? It gives you all of these other features and other wonderful layers that you can add on top of it. And I've told you a few things that I might do as a teacher and a couple of things I might do as a student. But let's see how this really works with supporting our students' learning, because there's a whole load of stuff built in here now that you might not be aware of. So first of all, I'm going to take you somewhere where you might use already. You might use Canva. I use Canva a lot for designs and backgrounds. And what I typically used it for was to find backgrounds for my whiteboards. So if I want to do that in Canva now, I can still do that. And what I used to do is I would customize the template. I'd go in and I'd open it up. I'd delete a few things I didn't want on there. You know, I'd ungroup stuff, and, you know, I'm not going to do too much, but I could delete a few bits on here and get this to a stage where I'm ready to put it as a background so that it's a nice design for my board. So my students are not just looking at boring whiteboards. And when I was using Jamboard, I would share it, I would download it, I'd upload it as a background in my Jamboard, and that worked fine for me. But we know Jamboard's going. So now I can just share, and I can open that directly in Kami. No need to download it, no need to upload it again. It does it all for me. And as I said, it does come in a little bit big here because of the quality size that they have in Canva, but now I've got my background, and, you know, I can play around with it a lot more in the design stage, but I've got something that I can pop into my Kami and open it up straight away. So I can go through and try that with any of the ones that I've got. For some reason that didn't pick up my images there. That's unusual. Let's see if we can find something else that comes in. Maybe I deleted something when I wasn't looking. Let's have a look. Let's open this one. Customize this. I wonder if it's something on my computer today. Let's open that one with Kami. It should have come in with the full images. If it's, yeah, that's what it should have done. I don't know what happened with that other one. There we go. It should have looked more like this. So anything that's in that background should pull straight into Kami. And now my students have got something that they can work on and they can use as a collaborative board, but not with that boring white stare in space at them. They can come in and look at something that's quite interesting, and they can use all of these tools to actually start to engage with this main idea or topic that we want to discuss. So that's something that's really lovely inside of Kami and inside of Canva too. So if you're using Canva already, you can still do that. If you're using Jamboard, don't forget, you can now open your stuff with Kami and you can work in the same way. But what I really want to spend some time on is looking at how this integrates with Google, because I'm guessing a lot of you here, because you've come through the GEG group, are Google users. So I'm going to take you in to have a look at how Kami supports your students here. So we'll look at it in here for Google, and then we'll have a look at what else I can do directly from Kami as well. So I'm in my class, I'm going directly to my work, and this doesn't look any different to any other Google Classroom. So far, nothing really is standing out as really unusual here, and that's a great feature, because what you don't want is too many new things. What you want to do is have things that are familiar with people, so there's less of a learning curve when you want to introduce something new. And what you're going to see here is that inside of my Google Classroom, I have pushed out a worksheet that has been made copies of for my students, and that's typical in Google Classroom, what we can ask it to do. And when I want to mark my work with Google Classroom, I go in and I open a student document, I give them their grade, I put their comments on, I can use all my commenting tools, I can use the comment bank to work on that student and give them some feedback. And then I move on to the next student. And that's a nice workflow. We've used it for years and we've been really happy with it. But what you get with Kami when you've introduced that the tool to use with your students, you can click on this class view, and class view just gives you an extra dimension. What it's doing now is it's generating the view and it's opening up all my student work, and it's at 100% at the moment, so I can reduce that down. And this is what you can see here, a 2-page document that I've pushed out to my students. But you can see that if I just scroll across, I can see all of my students. And that is important because as a teacher now, I can mark my work in a way that I might prefer. I can come in and be that teacher that just marks question 1. And why that's important is that I can look holistically at my group rather than just focusing on one student and moving on and missing things. But what it also gives me a chance to do is to go in to my toggle sidebar and pick up my annotation bank. Now, we mentioned that Google already has a comment bank, but it's just text comments. With Kami, what you get as an extra is you get the annotations, which can be audio recordings that you've made before, or they can be video recordings that you've made. So you can drop those on very quickly for the students when you're marking in this holistic way. But that's how it supports a teacher. How it supports a student is that a good teacher will be monitoring all of their students in the class. Now, if they're in class with you, you're doing that by walking around the class. But what if? What if we know that Isla is the sort of student that is really nervous, a student that really doesn't want to be in the classroom, but is really capable of being there? She doesn't like to put a hand up. She doesn't like to draw attention to herself. She doesn't want the teacher to ask them questions directly. But we know we need to still see how that student is progressing. And although I said you can mark in this view, this is also a live view. So if you set your students a task to work on this for 20 minutes, you can do your rounds of the classroom and look, but you can also see how your students are progressing here. And then if you notice that all the students have moved on to question 3, but Isla is still working on question 1, then you can support them in a way that allows you not just to look at Isla's work like you would in the past in Google and Microsoft and any of the other LMSs, But you can see how they're progressing against the class as well. So I can come in now and I can use that annotation bank, or I can come in and I can add a text comment and pop it on here where she's working and say, ask me a question. And they can then have that conversation with me. And we've seen that this works for students that are very anxious in class. We see these students that will never speak out in class suddenly have all these questions and all these ideas and show us really what they know by being able to do that privately with the teacher rather than in a large group setting. So think about this, how you might use that to support all of your students here. And then if she needs some extra support and she says, well, I can't remember how to do that, you can direct her back to the video, or you can bring that video straight into their document and it will pop in as a comment on the right hand side. So you can really support them in that granular way. Okay, I love this. I love Classview. I think it's such a wonderful view that we've introduced. But I'm going to close that down, come out of that. I nearly closed my classroom down then. There we go. So I'm going to come back to my Google Classroom again. And this is another one where I think that this really benefits teachers, but you'll see how this benefits the students and support all your learners too. I'm guessing all of us have done this. We've been really busy. We're busy teachers. We push out a resource for students and we've made loads of copies, up to 30 of our students in a class maybe. And we're really proud because we've got that work done. And then we look and we think, oh, I've made a mistake on the original and now it's copied multiple times. I've done that so many times. So if you're putting your hand up or you're shaking, nodding your head along with me now, you're not alone. I'm betting everybody is doing that. Okay. But in the past, the only options we've had is to delete the whole post and then post it again. But that can be a problem if you haven't noticed straight away and that students have started work, because if they've started on it and you delete it, you lose all the student work as well. So what people have done is they've gone into the student copies, however many they've made, and they've made those corrections multiple times, which is something we just don't have time to do as busy teachers. But Kami is your friend. You can go to the original. Now, this is the PDF that was made from the original in the Google Drive. And this is, oops, didn't mean to do that, sorry. And this is the amount of copies that it's produced. So if I go back to the original, and you see this is my 2-page document, you'll see that I've got a button up here called Update Work. And I've got that because of the extension. So do make sure you install that extension. And it takes a second or two to work, but that came in really quick. And what I can see now is my document. Okay, I can see this. So if I want to change this now, remember, this is a PDF. I can't just go in and change a letter, but I can go in and overwrite things. So I can go in and create a text box. And I can overwrite what's on here. So if I want to rewrite those instructions, I can do it. And I can put new instructions here. And I can change the font and the size and all sorts of things up here to make it fit and look like it's meant to be there. So I can make changes. I can also go in and make quite small changes as well. So it doesn't have to be just the big things. I can go in and change that number to 10, was it millimeters? Obviously, I'm not going to bother to change the size and font and everything now, but I can do. I'm leaving it there to stand out for you. So I can go in and change stuff. And when I publish those changes, that will appear on every copy that I've pushed out to my students. And that is an amazing way of working, being able to make those changes when you need to. Okay. I know the mistake I made once. I pushed it out to 50 trainee teachers in a Google Classroom. They'd all started work on it. And then I realized the due date was wrong. And I had to go in 50 times and change the due date because I was embarrassed. But this way I could have done it very quickly in one click of a button. But this is where this supports your students, okay? I don't want this just to be somewhere that teachers use to correct things, because this is a powerful teaching tool, a powerful teaching tool. Remember, you've just looked at the students working in Classview and you've seen how they're progressing. And you might have noticed something. You might have noticed that when they got this particular question down here, number 3, there was something about it that was getting them stuck. They got to a point where they didn't understand something about this and they were struggling to move on. And you can see that across the board with the students in Classview. So what you can do as a teacher is a couple of things. You can be the teacher that reassures. So that's going to be me for now. So I'm just going to make this a little bit thinner. And I'm going to come in and I'm just going to cross this out. Okay, nothing more but cross it out. And I'm going to come in now and I'm going to leave a comment. Hey, everyone, I'm sorry. This one was a little bit more tricky. But if you can do it, give it a go. But make sure you carry on and finish the rest of the worksheet. Those of you that really can't do this on your own, don't sweat it. Just move on, miss this one out, and we'll come back and we'll do this one together tomorrow. So now I'm going to publish the changes and push that out to my students so they can see that it's okay. That one's a bit more difficult. Don't worry about it, but carry on. You know, I'm just really challenging them then to move on. Or I can be the teacher that then uses that screen capture. Again, we looked at the screen capture, but look, how powerful will it be to do it here? If I come in now, turn me off and just start to say to my students, hey, look, I know you're struggling on this one a little bit, but it's no different to the others. Remember, this irregular shape, if you're looking for the area, you're just looking for the 2 regular shapes that are there. There we go. Look, you can see them here now. And once you've worked out the area of those 2, you just add them together. Now, obviously, you can see I'm not a maths teacher. A maths teacher would have done that 20 times better, but you get the idea. I've corrected a mistake on this document. I've given some reassurance and I've given some extra support. Now, when I publish those changes, it will publish it to all the student copies. Let's see how quickly it does that. There we go. Very, very quick. I'm going to close that. I'm going to come back to show you what that looks like. So here we go. Wait a second for Classview to pop in. And what you should see on that first page is my correction with the new instructions. And then when I scroll down here, can you see there's my correction, my move on stage, and here's my little video that I've made for my students. How powerful is that, to be able to look at where your students are, what they're struggling with what their struggles are, and then being able to go and support them in a way that you've not really been able to do easily before. It might mean that teachers can intervene and support students in a much different way to they've been able to do in the past. I think that's a wonderful tool. Right, we've had a look at what it looks like to support your students, but what does it look like when you want to push something out to your class? Because I think that's a really useful thing to know. And this is where this Kami supports teachers, because if you're used to creating something in Google Classroom, you're probably used to creating assignments most and maybe quiz assignments, but notice the extension now has given you Kami assignments. And when you open this in a familiar place, this looks familiar. This is mostly Google Classroom with a few added extras, okay? So we have to still put the title. We can put the instructions. That's optional, same as in Google Classroom. And we have to say which class we're putting it in. We've still got all those features about being able to push to multiple classes. We've still got all the features about being able to deselect students and push this out to particular students, the ones that need it. We've still got the date and the topic, which I'm going to ignore for now. But I can go and pop anything from my Google Drive. That's nice and easy. Or I can go to, oops, why are you not coming back? Or maybe I'll just pop something from my drive then. Or I can grab something from my Kami library, and we haven't even mentioned this, but if I go to look in my library, there's a load of resources I can pick up and open directly with Kami, or put them straight into my Google Classroom. So I can pick things up in a different place, and we'll look back at that library in a moment. And then I've got the extra feature. Remember that control feature I mentioned? I can still use that here in Google Classroom. So I can switch off that pesky copy and paste if I'm worried my students are going to use it. I can turn off the signature and maybe the add media because they don't need it for this task. So I can be very selective and still support my students while pushing this through Google Classroom. But it's familiar. This isn't a huge learning task for your teachers. What they need to know is they've got the extra bits here, so they can give students instructions how to use Kami without having to do it themselves. They can add links for mobile devices, but they're optional. They don't have to put those on. This one's really important. You don't have to use it, but I suggest you do it. It's amazing. But this bit's slightly different. This is the bit of learning the teachers have to do. Kami and Google use slightly different words here, and the default is different in Kami. So this is the default, making a copy for each student in Kami, because that's the ones teachers use the most. So it makes sense that that is actually the default. And what you've got here are still the ability to assign, save, or schedule. So no huge learning curve there for any teachers. I think that's lovely. So this bit is really easy for teachers to use, and you get all that extra richness that you can use once you're in Google Classroom. But I'm just going to take you back now. I haven't seen any questions coming in, but maybe some questions will come in later. If not, when you're watching this on replay, if you've got questions, you saw our emails at the beginning, please contact us and ask for questions. But I'm going to come back to this document here, and I'm just going to hit the Kami icon to take me to the dashboard. Because when I said we're supporting students, we've got all of these templates. Wow. 2024, look, the same as the year. So we've hit a new number. I think it was 1,500 when I joined 6 months ago. So you can see how quickly this is being populated. So it just means we can go in and use these tools, and you can open them and open directly with Kami. So you've got all of these tools you can use to support your students' learning as well. All they're free. So if you're using the free version or the paid version, that is still there. You don't have to worry. You can still use these. Now, this is something else I love. If you're a Google user, from here, you can push this straight to Google Classroom as an assignment. Wow, look at that. Just need to put a title on it, tell it which class I'm going to, and it's ready to go. I can use it straight into my favorite LMS. But there's another thing that we've got as well, that this supports students and supports you as a teacher. Let me find a bigger resource. I won't go for the Christmas one. I'm going to go and find, which one shall I have? There we go. This computer science one. This is great. Look, it's 18 pages worth of activities for you to use with your students. This is the sort of quality of stuff that Kami is pushing out for free. It's brilliant. Look at that. You can explore these at your own leisure. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go straight into this menu. And I'm going to go to split and merge. And this is another one of our free tools. So again, even if you're using free Kami, use this stuff because it's brilliant. Let's look, it's just processing. Once it's processed, I can open it. There we go. Continue to split and merge. And there, I can now go to next. So I'm just going to split today. I'm not going to add anything to it. But I've decided I just want this and I just want this. That's what I want from that document. I don't want to push out 18 pages to my students in one go. I want to split it. But I can, if I want, go into my Google Drive and find something else as well. I could bring this in. And that will bring it into a different line. Oh, did I miss when I clicked? Oh, no, it's still whirring. There we go. And I might decide that I want to bring that page in as well. So I can split the document and I can merge other bits, and I can decide to move stuff around as well. So I can really get this in a way or delete something that I want it for my students. And then when I export it, if I want to keep a copy, I can keep it in my Google Drive, or I can go straight to Kami. Here we go, and it'll open that straight into Kami for me. So I can find something on the internet, maybe an exam paper or some free resources that I found, because we know as teachers we're great at finding free resources, and they're usually PDFs. But we've got our 2-page document here, And here I went to the split and merge, but I can now push this one out to Google Classroom as well. So I've just shown you a load of tools here. I've shown you how it supports students in reducing the toolbox. I've shown you how it reduces students, increases student focus by not being able to distract each other by deleting things. I've shown you the free tools that you've got from Kami in our library. I've shown you how it integrates with the LMS, Google Classroom, and how you can support students by seeing where they're at and also intervening in a new way. I think there's a load of stuff that you can explore there. So we're coming to the end of it, but what I would love Nate to do at this point, Nate, would you be able to do a couple of things for me? Could you first of all pop the Kami feedback form out as a link so that people can see that if anyone's joined us, they can, or they join us after the session, maybe they would leave some feedback. Also, if anyone is interested in a free trial for themselves or for their organization, we can push out the link for the free trial and see if anybody wants to join us that way. And if anyone's liked what they've seen and would like to organize another session, maybe for some teachers in their schools, there's a calendar for booking training directly with me. So if you're in APAC or if you're in the UK, then you would book training directly with me. All of those links should be going live now. So if anyone's got any questions, I'll wait around just for a minute to see if we've got anything here.
Okay, and I know you can't see me right now because you've got your screen shared at the moment, but the links are in. So everyone, the feedback form for Kami would be great. That's the third one from the bottom now, and then the second one from the bottom, the free trial. You've got a link right there, and then the calendar booking if you want to chat with Wendy, which I know I'll be talking to my IT coordinator on Monday at school. Wendy, I'm blown away. I knew Kami before, probably used it like a number of years ago, but haven't again, to be completely transparent. But yeah, I just wow, like there's so many features in this that Frankie, who's been diligently kind of watching and commenting, so thank you, Frankie, has made some good comments, and yeah, like. Well, let me just project what Frankie has said. I posted this earlier, but I want to show it again and read through it because I think it brings everything together. This really gives teachers a seamless and easy way to support every, in bolded letters, capital letters, student. And the ability to support every, again, all caps, child is now no longer just a dream of Kami. Powerful, Wendy. And yeah, that's it. And Frankie just mentioned that the URL with opens has a broken link. So let me just I
think there's no space between Kami and opens. That's what's happened.
Yeah, and so what I'll do is let me just make sure I get the right one here. That I think would which one says opens with a new link?
It's the calendar for booking training.
The calendar, right? So I'm going to tap on that.
I think Kami and opens are just joined together. That's all. Easily done.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, I'm not sure if that's the one, but I'm going to put, that's the booking. And, but there is another one, opens a new tab. Yeah, that's the booking one. Yep. So thank you, Frankie, for that.
Thank you. So yeah, you were saying, Nate, that you've not seen some of these features before. And this is something I've been saying to people at conferences and when I've been visiting schools is that a lot of people knew Kami, but they don't know it now. It's changed so much that all these new features and the way that you can support students in this new way, it's a case of you knew Kami, but you need to know new Kami. Yeah, you need to know it now.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, yeah, I'm going to our IT coordinator on Monday, and that's everybody. That's not just because we're in this broadcast here. I really am. I posted earlier, mind blown. That's a lot, and I can think there are about 5 different features in particular that I'm kind of like, oh wow, that's awesome kind of thing, right? I mean, the taking your photo and recording your video, that's common among a fair number of apps, but the integration with Canva plus Google Classroom, the Google Classroom integrations, that's like wow, and that splitting and choosing pieces of a PDF that you want to use, like I've not seen an app do that before, so that's wild. That is very wild.
And there's a whole load of stuff that I can't talk about yet, but that's on our roadmap that's coming out that people are just going to go, there's some lovely stuff coming. So if you like what we've seen now, in a couple of months, you're going to love it even more.
Yeah, well, I'm just posting another one. Frankie had said, it's truly an amazing session. Thanks so much for this incredible session. Then Patrick said, thanks, Wendy. I really like the idea of using Kami with exam papers and the variety of tools to support everyone, like Frankie mentioned. Yeah, yeah, totally good stuff. And again, like I'm usually not too speechless, but yeah, all I can think of is, yeah, I gotta talk to our IT people, and we are looking forward to having you come and meet our GEG leaders for the Asia Pacific region and beyond that as well, actually. So. Yeah, you're right. The new Kami. I thought I knew Kami, but no, I don't. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you. So we all, it's your final words. So I mean, what do you want to tell the world, whether they're watching live or watching later?
Yeah, just come along and see Kami in action. Like I said, if you think you know it and you know it as a PDF tool, it's evolved and there's so many more features and ways that you can support your students now. So come along, book a training session with us. Training with Kami is all free. Any teacher that signs up for a new account through the link that's there gets 3 months free. We will also give organizations trials for 3 months as well. So if you want to bring this into your organization, just get in touch. That's the first step. Get in touch with one of us. Doesn't matter how you find us. Go to the website, choose the links that you see here. Just get in touch with us. We're a friendly bunch and we want to just get Kami in your hands. So please come along, try it out, and we know you will just love it.
Yeah, and they will. So thanks a lot for joining us, everyone. Day one, at least for English sessions for GEG APAC Weekend 8.0 are done. I've just posted a link for some things that are coming up tomorrow. Just a few sessions again. We're kind of smaller scale this year, but thank you so much, Wendy. That was awesome. And yeah, people have a look for Kami, and I'm definitely following up on this. Thanks so much.
Take care.